Okay, Saltburn. Oliver keeps the dad intrigued, enjoying his company by relating to him through those plates, and he's all excited that someone knows about these plates. He keeps the mom intrigued with obviously flattery, gossip, helping to alleviate her guilty conscience. Her little yes man who distracts her from thinking too much.
Headstone. Choose a font.
What font did you choose?
Times New Roman.
It's a good choice. It's solid.
Obviously, he keeps Venetia intrigued by making her feel special and seen and that her entire body is accepted. He keeps Farley by acknowledging that Farley needs someone lower on the spectrum to kind of like a puppy to kick. And he keeps him like satisfied that way and also sexually satisfied. I did notice all of these things, these manipulative tactics. I, however, while watching, just thought it was a bit more innocent and genuine. Like, oh, I just have to stay relevant and important because, you know, they think Pamela's flat and then they just like discard her. So he wants to stay relevant. And then versus the manipulation and like the psychopathy it ends up being. Like, for example, it seems like he's concerned about Venetia throwing up and he's concerned for her safety. But it turns out he just was upset that he didn't actually have as much control over her as he thought. The undercooked eggs. I think this honestly is a slight power trip to get back to the butler because he hates that the butler is suspicious of him. My European roommate actually pointed this out. Even over easy, the yolk would still be runny, so it just doesn't make sense. And also that term over easy is an Americanism, so they don't use that in the UK. Even the lower income people there, they just simply wouldn't use that term. So I think this is Oliver's way of purposely looking more pathetic and getting Felix's empathy because of his savior complex and keeping the mom's entertainment just so they'll keep him around. If he was actually that broke, he would eat any food. Like, he wouldn't be so picky to not eat runny eggs yolks.
And I believed him.
That's not just a bait and switch for the movie. Even though, yes, we were all waiting for Felix to just like abandon him because, you know, oh, he's some self-indulged, rich, asshole guy. The red herring, the expectation that the whole movie sets up for us. But I think the I believed him is more than that. It's again showing us that Oliver is simply an unreliable narrator. Even when he is speaking to Elspeth, who is, you know, unconscious, about to die, and it doesn't matter if she hears the real truth, he still sets himself up and paints himself as this victim, unreliable narrator. We know very clearly that Felix actually protected Oliver. I'm not sure in what case you could even think that Oliver protected him. Like, I guess he really is that delusional to think that he like protected him from all these other fake friends, but like I don't think that's what he's getting at. Clearly says to Felix himself, the reason Felix liked him is because he became what Felix wanted, not because he protected him and was honest with him. He became the puppy to save. He's the antithesis of honesty.
There aren't any pictures of me as a kid.
You told me you were an only child, Oliver.
No, I've always talked about my sisters.
You're a fucking liar, Ollie.
And that's the unsettling nature of psychopaths. They even convince themselves that they're in the right. Twisted. He's obviously very mentally unstable. Like, not only did he infiltrate a whole family, lie like crazy, manipulate, murder, he has been lying to and abandoning his own family for years. Like, his mom was desperate to cater to him so he can finally stick around, but he's mean to people. He just simply uses them and does not care about anyone but himself. And so that's the thing. We don't actually know his motive. He is just a bad person. And that's one of the reasons I really, really liked Heath Ledger's Joker so much. There doesn't have to be a humanization to the villain. He's just simply chaos. It wasn't about eating the rich. Like, Oliver is from middle class. Like, he's comfortable. We see that with his family. It's just simply about a psycho, creepy little guy who consumes and uses people. And because of that, it almost feels a little bit like, what was the point? Like, what was the movie trying to say? And I think that is the point. You know, like, there doesn't have to be some grand overlying lesson learned all the time. And I do like when a film can just be. Kind of similar to Windfall at the end. Like, it's a precarious line. You can either feel a little bit empty, like, well, what was the point of all that? Or it can just be a well-told story. That being said, this movie does say a lot. It's just not about classism. I think it's more about infiltrating people who are too consumed with themselves to notice. The obvious literary allegories, so the Greek mythology and the Shakespearean plays, the art, there's a lot that this movie does say. I saw people saying that Oliver didn't premeditate the murders and that like they kind of brought it onto themselves with how they interacted with him. I entirely disagree. Think about it. At what point did Oliver have a chance to escape? He was always around the family. Even when they went into the town city to visit his own family, he just never had a chance to slip away and go like buy some poison or whatever it was that he slipped into Felix's drink. Think about it. Why is he off put when he realizes that his stuff has been rummaged through and put away?
Back in my suitcase.
They do that here.
Just my old boxes.
Oh no, they're used to that, don't worry.
He looks afraid. I really believe that he had that poison with him the entire time. I do think that his moments of realization when Pamela dies and they're just so apathetic about it and like nonchalant, I think that's his realization that, oh shit, like these people do not and will never care about me. I did think at first that Ollie was feeling like a smidge guilty for smearing Pamela's name, as he did take away all of Elspeth's empathy for her. But I think really it's just fear that he himself will be this replaceable and forgettable. And that solidifies his choices, but I don't think the outcome would have been really that different. You don't simply bring poison on a what if. It's not like bringing an umbrella in case it rains. Like, he had a plan. I saw Felix like huffing and puffing and I thought like, ugh, he's so manipulative, like... Oh, like, really? You'd do that for me? Okay, thanks, like, bring my bike back for me. I was like, oh, he's such a jerk. But then he did the money thing and my heart melted. I can't find the interview right now, but that is exactly what the director said she wanted. To see Felix actually being like a kind guy and then us being like, wait, he's so cute. Oh. So Felix genuinely stands up for Oliver. Like, I don't hear Felix ever saying anything mean about him. The only thing that you might say is like, he didn't text him that night to go out to the bar, but you know, he doesn't owe him that. I think he was just embarrassed. You know, he's not used to people pointing out his flaws and he was uncomfortable. And like, you're allowed to do that even when you're a good friend.
Why is she lit? Because she's been around the world more.
There's a lot of like reflection, water, upside down imagery in this whole film. I think it symbolizes that there are many different versions of Oliver. And Barry actually said in an interview that he played Oliver as if there were 5 different versions of him. And we can very much see that. There was a time when I was confused at how different he was. Like when he first goes sexual, you know, confident and like controlling with Venetia. I was like, ooh, who's that? That is not who we saw earlier. Oliver making out with one of Felix's girls. And I know he doesn't actually care about them, but that just made me uncomfortable. It was the first time where I was like, oh, where's our shy baby boy? Like, does he not care about affecting his relationship with Felix? That's interesting. Like, what motivated him to do that? Is he that lonely? Did he want to get back at Felix? Maybe he wants the closest thing he can get to Felix and thinks he won't care. And then especially because he said, I don't think Felix will even bat an eye. Like, he won't care at all. I was like, damn, he like really fumbled the bag. He was really honest there. I guess he's such an honest guy. Obviously, we see later he's a pathological liar. But anyways, after watching, I realized that he really just wanted to get back at the girl for what she said about him. I think he wanted control over her or like blackmail her or something. He loves control. I don't quite understand why the cutoff point for the family with Farley is cocaine. But of course, Oliver had to desecrate their home after death by doing a line of coke. Most likely because he just knew they wouldn't have been okay with it. That's probably like the only reason he did it.
I loved him. But was I in love with him?
He wanted to be with Felix and he wanted to be him. I do think he was in love with him, but more so the power, and he will never actually be satisfied no matter what he does in life.